Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Fino Concept. I know it's been a while, sorry about that. Like I said in my previous video, I have been busy posting on the other channel, and in case you haven't figured out why I'm still talking about the other channel or having it in the end of my video, is because I want you to go over there and subscribe to that channel as well. First link in the description. Anyway, Instagram stories has been getting a lot of popularity these days. I see people posting their portfolios, their profile, their links to their website, and I thought probably we should create something similar or something of our own. So today we are going to create this in Adobe Photoshop and we are going to be posting it on our Instagram story. So let's just get started. Welcome to Fino Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, let's go ahead and open up our application. For this I'm using Photoshop CC 2018 and I'll go ahead and create a new document. I'm going to set my width to 1920 and my height to 720. Your resolution you can leave it at 72 and click on OK. Now I'm going to flip this around because most screens are horizontal, so I'll just change this by 90 degrees clockwise. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit and see what we have here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is hold down Ctrl and bring up my rulers by pressing R. So Ctrl R will bring it up, and I'll click and drag to the center like so, and I'll probably do the same from the top so I have a perfect center like this. And I'll go to the shapes tool, grab the rectangle tool, and I'll click and drag like this. It doesn't have to be perfect because once I'm done, I'm just going to be using the move tool to try and place it somewhere around here. Then I'll duplicate this using Ctrl J and I'll bring this somewhere around here, just making it fit like this. You can also hold down the Alt key whilst the move tool is still active and just click and drag, and that is also going to duplicate. So once I've done that, I'm just going to select all three layers and I'll move them to the edge like this. So you can see that I have perfectly divided this into three equal halves. Alright, so the next thing is to grab the ellipse tool. I'll click on this one time, make sure that my width and my height is set to equal, and click on OK. You can also just hold down the shift key and just click and drag from any direction, and I'll place this somewhere around here. You can see because my the color of my ellipse is the same as the color of the rectangle, so I'll just double click on this shape. Since it is a shape, I can always change the color by double clicking on the thumbnail, and I'll place this somewhere around here. So let's zoom in. Now just click and drag and put your image in here like so. Obviously this is the image I'm going for, so I'll place this somewhere around here. Now making sure that that layer is on top of my ellipse layer, I'm just going to right click on that layer and go to create clipping mask. Now you can position this wherever you want. You can even make it a little bit larger, and I think this is okay. Now obviously I'm not going to go with this black color, so I'm going to select that layer, go to FX, click on gradient overlay. Make sure that my opacity is set all the way to 100%, and I'll select these two colors. So the first one is the blue color. It is I think I'll probably go with a darker blue version like this, so 156 FBB, and I'll click on OK, and I'll select the purple color. I should probably place it somewhere around here, and I'll also go with a much brighter color, so I think somewhere around here. I should just go with the color I have right here, so that is CB0AA9, and I'll click on OK. Now once you've done that, once you are in the layer style option, you can just click and drag to play around with the gradient. So once you are comfortable with what you have, you can just click on OK. So I think a scale of about 150 should be just fine. You can also go with 100 depending on how you want it, and I think I'm okay, so I just click on the OK button. Now there's one more thing I wanted to do. With the ellipse, I want to create a stroke around this, so go to FX, click on stroke, and I want to have a white stroke around this, so I'll set the color to white and increase the size to about 15. Now I want the position to be inside, so I'll change it from outside to inside so that it kind of blends in like so. I think I'll probably reduce the size to about 10, or yeah, I think 8 is okay, so I'll go with just 8 and I'll click on OK. So you know what, let's group this and make the whole work seem organized. So I'll select this rectangle, I'll select my ellipse and my image, hold down Ctrl and press G on my keyboard, and I'll call this probably profile. Now once I've done that, I'll just grab my type to make sure that my foreground color is set to white, and I'll just type in some info like a name. Now the font I'm going with is Verdana, and I'll probably increase the number of points to about 36, and I'll place this somewhere around here. You know what, let's make this a little bit bold, and let's change the font size to about 48. Now go to window and make sure that character is checked, and I'm just going to reduce the distance between each individual letter, so -50 should be just fine for me. And once I've done that, I'll just hit enter and I'll type in the rest of my information. Now I think this should be the regular version, and I'll reduce the size to about, let's try 18, let's try 24. I think 24 is much better, so I'll probably just go with this. Let me quickly save this because you don't know when PDS is going to kick in. So let's call this Instagram. So I'm basically going to click and drag this into the profile, and I think I have to reduce the size of the rest so that everything kind of moves in like this. You know what, let's just go with the ellipse first. So I'll make this and my image smaller, so probably somewhere around here should be just fine, and I'll just click and drag my text to the top, like probably like this. Go ahead and save. Now for this part or this area, I'm just going to double click, you know what, and that is this rectangle right here. Double click and change the color, not to white but somewhere around gray, so that's F2, 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 and I'll click on OK. Now with that layer still selected, I can go ahead and add in a gradient overlay. This time around I'm going to change it to white to black, that's foreground to background color, and I'll probably change this to 100 points and reduce the opacity to about 10 or 5. I think let's try 15. 15 should be just fine, and I'll click on OK so that we have this black moving into white over here. So I'm just going to group this up, Ctrl G, and call this I don't know, middle. Yeah, I think middle is okay, and I'm going to type in my information. So I already have my information right here. So instead of using the location, and you know what, let me just copy and I'll explain whilst I move along. Let's zoom in just a little bit, grab the type tool one more time, that's T on your keyboard, and I'll paste all of these in here like so. I should probably just delete this stuff up. Well, if you hear a little bit of noise in my background, pardon me for that. It is currently raining, so I think I'll place this somewhere around here. Now it is best you go with icons instead of text, so for location you should probably get a location icon, and I think I already have some, so I'm just going to search it in my file explorer. So I already have one here. This is for location. I'm just going to click and drag in here like this, reduce the size to something about this big, and I'm going to place this somewhere around here. So that's going to be for my location. Let's see if I can get one for contact, and yeah, I do. So I'll place that also in here. You know what, let's go ahead and rasterize this so that I can work with them. Now go ahead and delete this part and go ahead and delete that part as well, and I'll move this somewhere around here, trying to make it as small as my first icon, so probably around here should be just fine. Now the next thing is going to be email address and website. Let's see if I can get that. So for the website, I'll just be using the mouse icon, which I'll just click and drag here, also trying to make sure that the size is in accordance to what I already have. And the last part is going to be the email address, which is quite a tricky one. So you know what, I'll just use the lasso tool or the polygonal lasso tool. I'll just create a selection around this like this. I'll right click, cut this out, and use my magic wand to delete this area out. So right now if I just pick it, it's just like that. I'll go ahead and rotate this to probably somewhere around here, make it also smaller. I don't think email is even necessary. Now I'll go ahead and add in a color overlay so that that color is going to replace whatever I have over there like this, and I'll fit this back to screen. So if we go ahead and manipulate this, I'm going to fast forward from here because this is basically just arranging all the icons the way you want them. So I'll catch you in a second. Okay, so I'm having this crazy idea of bringing the location inside the profile folder or the group, and I'll click and drag this to the middle. Now I'm just going to place these over to the top like this, and probably shift this also to the top. Now I'm going to basically apply a color overlay onto the icon so I can change it to this white text color I have here, and I hope everything is going to be basically the same. Now I'm going to change also this text to this color. Now I can also place this somewhere around here. You know what, let me zoom out and see how this is looking like already. So I think that is much better. Let's move these two icons or these two layers to the top. Let's move that also to the top, and finally we'll move this also to the top like this. Alright, so now that that is moved to the top, I think I can rearrange all of these. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to add is some about us info. Now I'm not going to go over this all over again, so I'll just duplicate this information and I'll bring this to the middle. Now the reason why I'm doing this is I want the information to be consistent throughout. Now I'll change the font style to strictly black, and I'll type in about me. In case you don't want to do this, you can just go ahead and type everything in there, but then again you have to make sure that the font size is 48 just like this, and the font size for the lower text is also 24 just like what I have here. So I'm just going to copy this entire information, which is not even true, and I'll paste it in here like so. Okay, so this is all right for me. Now the last part is going to be this, so Ctrl G to group it up. Let's call this I don't know, bottom, and I'll place it at the bottom. So over at this area I'm going to consider my scales. So again I'm just going to copy that information about me, duplicate that. I'll bring this over to the bottom layer. Now again, just like I said, I just do this so that I get a consistent font size for everything. I don't want to be just doing it over and over and over again. I can just copy and paste. So I can just type in scales over here. Sorry, I can't spell today. So I'll grab my ellipse tool, create a circle whilst holding down shift like so, and once I've done that I'll just double click and change it to white so that you can see what I'm doing. I'll duplicate one more time. This time around with my move tool selected, I'm going to make the second circle much smaller than the first, so something like this should be okay. Now I'm just going to double click on it and change it to solid black so it is the same as what I have in my background like so. Now I'm going to duplicate these two, Ctrl J, and I'll place it somewhere around here. Duplicate one more time and I'll place this somewhere around here. And I'll select all my ellipses, hold down Shift and just click and drag them to somewhere around here. Now make sure I place it at the center. Again, I'm going to add in some text, so the font size is 24. Alright, I'm just going to type in graphic design, and I'll call this web design, and I'll call the third one photography. Okay, so I'll select all these three and I'll place them somewhere around here. Now for these two, they are for graphic design, so I'll select all three layers, Ctrl J to duplicate, that would be group 1. I'll select these two, Ctrl J to duplicate. Now you can also just do all of these before you start creating duplicates of them. That is going to be a lot easier as well. So for graphic design, I'm pretty confident, so I give myself about 95%. I mean, why not? And I'll place it somewhere around here, somewhere around the center. I'm not too sure this is the center. Now let's see if I can get it right. So I'll select any of the ellipses, use the move tool, then I'll bring my ruler somewhere here and somewhere here as well. Now I can position this at the center. You know what, let me increase the size to something like 72. Now with my move tool selected, I can place this at the center. I think it already is. So Ctrl J to duplicate, I'll move the second one somewhere around here. You can't see because it is behind that black circle, and I'll place this also somewhere around here at the center. So for the second one, I'll place it in group 2 and I'll place this in group 3 so that they can all be seen. Now for web design, I'll give myself probably an 85. And for photography, well, I just started out, so I give myself like 80, and I think that is okay. So since all the ellipses we created are shapes, I'm going ahead to select all of them, right click and go to rasterize layer. Now once I've done that, I'll select them individually and I'll just merge them up. So I'll select these two and I'll merge them up, select these two and I'll merge them up. Now the fun thing is, now that they are all merged up, I can just use my magic wand and I'll click in the area which is the empty space and I'll go ahead and delete that. I'll click here, I'll select this layer as well, click in the center and I'll go ahead and delete that. Now I can use any of my selection tools to create selections at certain portions I want, and I can just take it out. You know what, I'm just going to be using the rectangular marquee tool for this one. So 95, I'm guessing it should be somewhere around here, and I'll just hit delete on my keyboard. Now make sure that that layer is selected. You can use delete on your keyboard, or you can just go ahead and create a layer mask for that in case you are interested in getting it back later in the future. So once you create the layer mask, hold down Ctrl and press I to invert that selection, and I'll select the second ellipse. 85 should be, I don't know, somewhere around here. I'm just guessing by the way, so I'll create a layer mask, Ctrl I to invert that selection, and 80% probably somewhere around here, I don't know. I'll select that layer, create a layer mask, Ctrl I to invert that selection. So basically that is it. This is one stunning looking Instagram story for you. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch more of our videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Fino Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.